we see a lot of stuff on some of the different forums that we're on, like the Skoolie subreddit and, you know, general questions and all of that. And we get asked this a lot when we're at stops and gas stations and stuff like that. But it's, what do we do with a dog on the bus? How does he do? Is he okay? What kind of precautions do we take? And so I thought I would talk a little bit about what it's like living full-time on a bus and having a dog with us. What we do for him, how he reacts to different things. So first of all, I can't speak to every dog, obviously. I can only tell you about our experiences with our dog. And he's an interesting little fellow, you know, so different dogs have different needs. They like different things. Some get car sick, some don't. Like, you know, they're just, it's different for all dogs. Dogs are like people, etc., personalities, whatever. So, let me tell you a little bit about Finn, first of all. Finn is our terrier. He's a little terrier mutt. We adopted him about 1.5 years ago from a shelter. He's about 2.5 right now. And he is a handful. Like, he is a mostly insane little dog. And we love him, of course, but oh my goodness, this dog is a handful. So, yeah. The dog that we had before him, his name was Muttley. He was a schnauzer. And he was my old man. I adopted him when he was about 11. And yeah, he was about 10 or 11, I guess, when I adopted him. So he was my old man. I had him until he was about 16. And he could not have dealt with this. This would have not been at all his situation. Like, I don't think he would have done very well with it. But, you know, so anyway, so Finn we adopted from the shelter, and shortly after we adopted him, we decided to take a road trip, and we drove from Central Florida all the way up to Niagara Falls, Ontario. And we did it in a weekend because we are mostly insane, and because I had just started full-time at the library, so I didn't really have any time off. So I had a 3-day weekend. We decided that we were just gonna book it, get up there, check the falls out, turn around, come back, get a stamp in our passports, you know, that kind of thing. And we got detained at the border, we got searched, we got questioned. They thought we were super suspicious. Trying to get into Canada for 6 hours to turn around and drive back to Florida. The Canadian Border Patrol, they were not, I don't think they liked us very much. But anyway, saw the falls, it was lovely, etc. But we took Finn on the trip because we had just adopted him, and his behavior was so terrible that we couldn't leave him with a family member. I didn't feel comfortable asking my sister or my mother or anyone like that to watch him, and we didn't want to board him because we had adopted him fairly recently, and we felt like that might be kind of traumatic to be in a kennel situation, you know, so shortly after being adopted into a new home with all of that upheaval and everything. So we decided to take him with us. So we put him in the back of the car and we drove. And he actually did very, very, very well on the drive. He was great. He hung out, he chilled, he slept, he was snuggly, but he was really good the entire drive. It was a totally different story when we got to the hotel. So we had a bunch of issues finding a hotel that actually did accept dogs. There were a whole bunch of them that said they would, and then when we got in and attempted to get a room, they refused to take the dog. So that was a thing. And we did actually end up finding this little, like, boutique hotel. It was super cute. I think it was called the Stone Inn in Niagara by the Falls, maybe. And he was okay. He was really confused. I think he was a little anxious by the situation, but he was okay until about 6 o'clock in the morning when people started getting up and moving around and making some noise, and he lost his shit. He started barking like mad, and it was super disruptive. And we couldn't calm him down. It was just too much. So we ended up checking out really early because he couldn't handle it. And then we got stuck in a situation where we couldn't leave him unattended in our car and go see sights and stuff like that. So we just kind of drove around with him and checked stuff out, but we couldn't leave him to go look at stuff, you know. And we couldn't leave him in the hotel unattended. So it ended up being sort of not very well thought out on our part for this particular trip, but it was a good learning experience. And it was the catalyst into us deciding to go mobile, to do an RV or a school bus or something like that. We did ultimately decide to do school bus. So it's really good for us because whenever we travel, home is with us. And for Finn, it's not at all a big deal. It doesn't matter that home is moving and it's in a different location. Home itself is the same. And so he gets that consistency of always being home regardless of where we are. And so we can leave him unattended when we're in new cities because he is still home and it's not scary and weird, and he doesn't, you know, it's the same thing to him basically. Like it may smell a little bit different outside, but inside everything is the same. All of his toys are there, his bed is there, everything is the same. It's good for him while we're traveling. So we did take a few steps in mind with him when we were building the bus, and the first big thing is we got bench seats to put up in the front. We actually scavenged those out of a Trailblazer from a junkyard, and we did the bench seat because we knew he would do better riding up with us. In the car, you know, one, you don't want dogs to ride in the front seat because of the airbags and stuff like that, so it's totally not a safe place for them. They should be in the back somewhere. Then, so he rides in the back, but he's very displeased about it. And every once in a while, if we're going somewhere, you know, on back roads or it's a really short trip, I'll put him in the front seat, and he does so much better. He's really calm. You know, I think if he starts to get nervous about something that's going on outside of the car, like someone's walking or there's a bicycle or a motorcycle or something like that, I am within reach. And so he can come over, you know, get some comfort from his mama, and then he's fine. And so keeping that in mind, we knew that we needed him to be up front with us. We didn't think that he would do very well being in the back of the bus somewhere while we were moving and we were up front, you know, driving and being a passenger and that kind of stuff. So we got a bench seat so that he can sit in between us. And he does great. He loves it. He hangs out, he chills, and then he curls up in my lap and falls asleep. And he just does really, really well. So the bench seat has been a really good key component of keeping him comfortable and calm and all of that while we're moving. Finn doesn't get car sick, which is very good. But there are different medications that you can get from your vet that help with car sickness and all of that kind of stuff. So it's definitely something that you can talk about with your vet if it's a really, really big concern. Luckily, Finn doesn't have any issues with it, which is excellent. He doesn't tend to have a huge appetite while we're moving, so he doesn't eat very frequently. Like when we're stopped for the night, then he'll finally eat, but during the day, he doesn't usually. That's pretty much that. We do, like I said, we stop a lot because we're very slow, and he gets out and he goes for a little walk every time we stop, which does make us slower, but, you know, he gets a chance to get out and smell and do all of that kind of stuff. So we do definitely take our time when we're traveling with him. We're definitely we're even slower with him than we would be without him, but you know, if it keeps him happy and it keeps him healthy, then that's totally all that matters. So the other thing that we did is we built like a little built-in house for him, a little kennel, and put his bed and his toys and stuff in there so he had a safe place to go. He did not like it, actually, as it turns out, so his bed has been moved and it's now underneath our little dinette table, which he likes a lot better because he's in very, very close proximity to us, but he's still in like a cave-like thing where he's got something on top of him, and I think that makes him feel a lot safer. So he loves his bed being there, and he hangs out there a lot now. So while we're moving, Finn's totally great. When we're parked, it's a slightly different story because he goes into like full watchdog mode, and he hates a few different things. Golf carts, bicycles, motorcycles, and skateboards. He cannot stand them. So, which is a problem, you know, if you're in a campground or somewhere like that, because a lot of the maintenance guys, you know, ride around in motorcycles. They lead you in, not in motorcycles. That would be a really cool campground, though. No, they're in golf carts. And, you know, usually if you pull into like a KOA or something like that, they lead you to your spot with a golf cart, provided that they're in, you know, you didn't get in super late or something. And Finn cannot stand it. He just, I mean, he just goes bananas. So that is, you know, something that we are working on with him, but he definitely has issues with different kinds of vehicles and things on wheels. So country girls are going to shake it. What is really good about having him aboard the bus with us is that I feel very, very safe with him because he is such a good watchdog. The second that anything goes on outside of that bus, like, we are well aware of it. So if we're parked in a parking lot or a truck stop or something like that, he is a very good alarm system to alert us to anything dicey that could be going on. If someone's getting close to the bus, he will let us know, definitely. And if I am in the bus by myself, I feel much, much safer if he is there with me, because he is, he sounds really crazy when he's barking at something that he finds threatening that's coming towards his house. And, you know, he is loud, and he's definitely not very friendly sounding, although he is totally super friendly when you actually get inside. But anyway, the good thing about traveling with a dog is that a lot of people do. You know, we are surrounded by people in their RVs that have dogs, that have multiple dogs, that have big dogs, that have, you know, tons and tons of animals with them. And so every campground that we have been at, that we've stayed at, has got a dog walk and a dog park usually. So Finn does get the opportunity to get out and socialize while he's on the road, which is really good for him. So there are a lot of people that travel with dogs. And I've also noticed actually a surprising amount of breeders that come in with the puppies, like their whole puppy litters. They'll come in, set up camp, and then one by one, you know, the puppies leave as they find homes and that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of an interesting, like, mobile puppy business thing that I've seen several times now. Yes, so I don't think people are any strangers to dogs on the road once you get them out and you get them, you know, acclimated to it. Most of them, I think, probably do fine. I hope that was interesting and informative, hearing about our little puppy dog on the road. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff from us. If you have questions about living in a school bus, daily life, you know, different aspects or components of them, leave them down below. You know, we would love to answer them. And yeah, that's pretty much that. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.